We haven't had a good 007 game in some time. The days of old have been kind of far past gone when it comes down to 007. And when I say that, I mean, there was something special about the N64's version of 007 GoldenEye. Even though it was a first-person experience, a lot of the game, and it was the old school graphics, and it was just perfect. It was a really great experience. And since then, they've been trying to make a 007 game with the same success as the GoldenEye title. But I feel like it's always fallen short. And the reason why is because they've never had a team like IO Interactive behind the helm. Today I'm here to talk about 007 First Light and why this game is one of my favorite games of 2026. So I want to give a big shout out, of course, to IO Interactive for giving me the opportunity of checking this game out, and also giving me the opportunity of being flown out to California a couple weeks back, a month ago, I can't remember, and testing the game out and talking to some of the development studio beforehand. You can check that video out over on the channel or on Cineweeks.com. But as I said, today we're here to talk about this. Now, this is going to be a spoiler-free review. You'll see some gameplay elements of my gameplay, as well as some gameplay elements that are on some of the most recent trailers. I'm not going to go real in depth on the overall perspectives and aspects of full-on details of the game, but I just want to kind of share my experience with you guys and tell you why I love this game so much. So in this game, you follow a young James Bond, resourceful and sometimes reckless recruit in MI6's training program, and discover an origin story of the world's most famous spy. After a heroic act, young naval air crewman James Bond is offered an opportunity to join the newly revived 00 program. But when a mission to stop a rogue agent ends in tragedy, he must join forces with his reluctant mentor Greenway and expose a deep conspiracy and stop a looming coup at the heart of the state. So, as I said, this game is something special. It officially launches May 27th, but we have been playing it a little bit. Now, I have put in about 15 hours into this game. I'm not really one that believes on kind of going back, or this is my review in progress, but I want to share with you all. I did not get a code for this game until sometime last week. So I have reviewed it as much as I possibly can at this point in time. Now, I will be coming back with a second opinion, or I got a second opinion, one of our new video segments by the end of this coming week. We have Summer Games Fest right around the corner. But let's get into this review. So 007 First Light is a fantastic action-adventure title that, of course, puts you into the shoes of 007. What is really great about this game is the overall story elements. One thing that I did notice is that it is a cinematic adventure from start to finish. Not only do they build this game into a action-packed thrill ride, but there are many times that you feel like you're watching a movie as you're seeing some of these cutscenes or moments in the game when you're doing certain elements or doing certain things. There's a lot of times that some of these games can actually, kind of take you out of the experience with some of these cutscenes, but in 007 First Light, there's moments that you're actually these gameplay elements are clipped together as like a montage moment, and that really pulled me into the cinematography that they have in this game. IO Interactive has done a really great job of building this game into something that it seems like it's as important as something that's on the big screen. And I think that's what they were pushing. This is a 007 game, of course, so they want to have that same type of element. The story overall, from what I've played so far, is fantastic. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of kind of up and down action moments, as well as some of these moments that kind of leave you on a cliffhanger. The action and combat in the gameplay is super smooth and super fluid, like we haven't really seen in a 007 game as of yet. What's cool about the gameplay elements is that there's a really awesome counter system that's set up, as well as not just with the counter system, but the gadgets that you have in this game. You have the Q watch, you have your phone, earpieces, lighter, pin, etc. And with those different gadgets, they're all secret weapons that you can use. There's times that you can actually pick up batteries and other elements that will be used to power your Q watch. And with that Q watch, you can intercept different elements in the game. You can actually pick up where someone is talking or someone is actually feeding information, and you can eavesdrop on them. You can hack their phones. You can do all different types of stuff. Use your laser in your Q watch to blind some of these enemies. But then whenever we get into the overall combat of the game, it is extremely fluid. As I was playing the game, there were multiple occasions that I would run into an area, and instead of me being the normal James Bond, I would kind of pull the whole Leroy Jenkins moment and just run up in there and start punching and shooting and acting a fool. But with these elements, especially with the counter aspects of the movement type that you have with James Bond, it really just felt like a combat system we haven't seen, or a really good combat system we haven't seen since like the era of Batman Arkham Knight. I was able to fluidly move from one enemy to another, counter their attacks, grab them, throw them into stuff, pick up stuff from the area and like throw it at their face, or even the element of having a gun and shooting it at certain enemies, and then when you run out of ammunition, you're able to throw that weapon at them. Really was cool, man. It was really great. But one thing I want to talk about too is the audio and the music in the game. Now, the voice cast and the cast overall is fantastic. They did a really great job of picking and choosing who they needed to have that cinematic aspect in the game. But the audio is great. As you all know, the theme for 007 First Light was done by Lana Del Rey. It's one of the most massively successful 007 themes in some time, maybe since some of the other movies have come out with some of these other stars, but it is a huge, huge success. And having those music and audio elements in the game are something really special to me, because if you don't have the right audio placement or right music placement while you're playing these games, it can easily pull you out. It does with me, at least. I know some people don't really care about that, but if I'm playing a story-based game that has these cinematic elements and you don't have something set up properly with the audio or the music, for me it just doesn't feel the same as something as I would be watching at the theater. But that's the type of experiences that I think a lot of these games need to be pulling. You know, what is special about this game that gives you that extra element to showcase something better than the movie industry. And with the games industry, you step into the shoes of these characters, and when you step into the shoes of the characters and it has such a unique and responsive combat system like 007 First Light does, and has those gadgets, has those story elements, but also has that music and audio in the background to support the entire system, it makes the overall experience just one hell of a experience. IO Interactive really put a lot of love into this as well. When you go to these different locations, there's certain camera angles that pop, or you get that 007 font of saying that you're in a certain area. It really kind of pulls you into, hey, I am 007. I'm this agent. I'm playing and taking this route. Because of the way that they set up the camera angles, the way that they set up the drops on these locations, with not just your reaction, but your sidekicks reaction, or your co-agents that are joining you on these missions, or even some of these other elements to where you're facing off against some of these rogue agents or rogue military companies. So Another thing, too, is, of course, with this game, there's some really big names in there. There's also a guest appearance from the one and only Lenny Kravitz in the game, which I thought was really cool. And having him as a character that's like a bad guy is something very strange, but also exciting as well to see him take on a role like that. But gameplay elements overall are really smooth. I think the combat system is great. The focus mode in the game is really great as well. There's a lot of times that whenever you come up on multitudes of enemies, if you don't have that focus mode to where you can kind of slow down time and get those precise shots, it puts you in a little bit of a pinch. The Q gadgets are really unique and cool. Of course, we've seen these Q gadgets before in other elements of 007, but in this game, they seem more precise. The Q watch seems more of a, instead of it being an accessory, it seems like something that it's like a way of life. If you don't use your Q watch properly and when you need to use it, then you're not really going to have a chance going in. Even though 007 has his charm and his charisma, there's he needs some help every once in a while. Locations and graphics are fantastic. Now, I did notice on the PS5 version of the game, which is what I reviewed it on, I had to kind of mess around with the quality and performance mode. The performance mode, of course, is good. You do get some good frame rates on there, but it does kind of dull down the graphics. There was a couple of times that I found myself switching in and out, but if you do use the performance mode on PlayStation 5, unless you have a PS5 Pro, when you use the performance mode on a base PS5, I would suggest taking off the film grain filter that they have on it, because by taking that off, I felt that it was a better visual representation of the game than what it was with it. But using the quality mode, of course, it drops the frames per second, but you really do get a different visual fidelity when you switch to quality mode. So most of these other systems now, and if you're playing on PC, you don't have to worry about that. Overall, graphically, the game was great. Going to these visually stunning different locations out and about was really cool, and seeing the expanse of they really used a element of camera work or digital camera work in this game that I haven't seen in a while, to where it really kind of draws out. There's moments that even though Bond is still the focus on screen, the camera will back up and you'll see this massive kind of area that you're about to go investigate or take on or whatever. It was a really cool element of the game. Of course, as I said too, the audio and music was fantastic. There was multitudes of times that it kind of gave me goosebumps when you get into something like an Aston Martin and that Bond theme kind of cuts on. It was really great. The voice acting work was phenomenal. And as I said, it was just an overall smooth experience from what I played. Now, I will be doing a I Got a Second Opinion video segment, kind of going over the overall aspect of the game. But at this point in time, we are giving 007 First Light a 5 out of 5. This is one of the best 007 experiences in some time, and for sure, one of my nominations for Game of the Year. Hands down, this is a must-buy. It comes out tomorrow on the 27th. You've got to play this game. If you love 007, if you love action adventures, if you're not even a gamer and you love 007, I'm telling you, get your kids to play it. Or maybe just you play the game yourself. Get off your couch and stop watching, all these different movies. Get you a nice, comfortable chair. Scoot up to that big 75-inch screen that you have. Play this game day one, because I'm telling you, it's one of the best action adventure games that I've played in recent years. So get it when it comes out tomorrow. Big shout outs to IO Interactive for giving us the opportunity to check this game out. And of course, flying us out to California just a couple of weeks ago to check this game out. And come back soon. I'll have a little bit more in-depth kind of talk on not just the Second Opinion podcast, but we'll have it on I Got a Second Opinion, which is a video segment to where I do a little bit more deep diving on some of these reviews. So please make sure to comment, like, subscribe. Check us out at cineleaks.com and check back soon. We are going to Summer Games Fest next week. We will be flying out to Los Angeles and having our hands on all different types of experiences. Love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Peace out.